Hey, welcome everyone to my channel, The Bengali Tech. My name is Sobodip, and today we are going to learn the basic data types of Python. So from today onwards, there will be no more slides because we are going to the core section of Python, and a little bit of theory part will be required, but that we will cover in the Google Colab sheet itself. And if you don't know how to write the text in Google Colab, please go through my previous videos. There I have explained how to insert text or write text in the Google Colab. So let's move towards Google Colab. So we are in our Google Colab page right now, and before jumping to the basic data types of Python, a couple of things we need to know. So the first thing we need to know what is variable. So variable is a very important concept not only for Python but for every programming languages. So you have to have a clear idea what is variable exactly. So let us come to the definition of variable. A variable is a name container that store your data temporarily. So yes, I mentioned temporarily because the data or value within the variable can change time to time as per the requirement of the program. So let us have an example so that we can understand it properly. So I'll take a code cell, and unlike C, Python is a very user-friendly programming language. I mean, just to print a line or a word in C, you have to call a lots of studio, and you have to execute or write multi-line code. But unlike C, Python is very easy. So to declare a variable, we just have to name the variable. So let us take our first example. We declare a variable called A. So we'll just type A, and in this variable we'll store a data. So let us store a data. Suppose we store value 5 in the variable which is named as A. So on the next line we will print the value of A. That's all. So we can see the output is A. Next we'll take another code space. Now we'll call the same variable, but we'll assign some other value. Like we can assign a value called 10, and even to print the value of a variable, you don't have to write the print. You can simply call A and run the code. So the output is 10. So as you can see, the first value of variable A was 5, but later I can change it, and I have changed it to the 10. So the next thing we need to know what is data type. So data type tells the computer what kind of data a variable can hold and how the data should be used. And we have a built-in function Python called type, this one, which tells us what kind of data type a variable is storing. So let us again have a space for code and understand it properly. So suppose this time we take a variable b and we store a data within the b, integer value of data. So let us store 40. Now we know the value. If we simply press b, we can have the value that what's the value stored in b, that's 40. But what kind of data is 40? To know that, what we have to do, we have to type print close. Then we have to use our function called type. Within the type, we have to call the variable. So here the variable is b, so we'll call the b, and that's all. We will run the code. So there you can see the value is not printed where the data type of the value is printed here. So the data type for the value is integer. Let us take some other example. So this time we will take a variable called v and we will store a float value within this variable. So let us store 10.6785. So this is clearly a float data because we have a decimal value in this number. So let us see what output it gives. The same way, first you have to write print, then you have to call the function type. Within that function you have to pass the variable. Here the variable is b, and close it. That's all. So you can see the data type is float. Very simple concept. Now let us start our basic data types of Python. So the basic data types of Python, the first one is integer, second one is float, third one is complex, fourth one is string, fifth one is none, sixth one is boolean, and the last one is range. Apart from this basic data types, we will learn some other data types also. But first let us understand these basic data types one by one. So let us first understand the first data type for today is integer data type. Integer data type is a very simple data type which we have been using since we are in the primary school. So it's clearly a number, I mean a simple number. It can be positive number, or it can be negative number, or it can even be zero, but without any decimal value. So let us have a code and understand this. So it's a very simple one. I have already showed you. So let me show it once again. So we take a variable called x. We store a data here that should be integer, I mean without any decimal value, 10, and we can same way we can come to know what kind of data is there. So it's simply an integer. Let us take another example with negative value. So same, we can take the same variable x, and this time we are storing a negative value here. So let us store -20, and let us print the type, and let's see what value it gives. It should definitely give integer, because whether the number is positive or negative, the value must, the type is integer. So here, so any positive number is also integer without a decimal value, and negative is also integer with a decimal value. So the next data type we have is a float data type. So float data type is also very simple, same as integer but with a decimal value. So I mean any data, any positive or negative data, but including 0, but with a decimal value. So let us understand this with another example. We'll take a code space. This time we can take a variable called c, and we can store a data which is having decimal value 10.675, and we will print the data type of the variable called c, and it should be float. Yes. Now let us take another example for negative value. So this time we can use a variable called d, and we can store a negative decimal value. Suppose we take -23.567, and the same way we will go here also to know the data type, and it should also be float. Yes. So any negative or positive number including 0 with a decimal value is a float data type. So our next data type is complex. So complex data is something which we don't work much with, and you don't have to bother too much about the complex data, because those are very difficult part actually. So complex data is the imaginary data, refers to the hypothetical or artificially generated data that is not collected from the real sources and is used for modeling, simulation, demonstration, or testing purpose. So to be practical, this complex data are used in space research, rocket science, all these things. In data science, we will not be dealing with the complex data that much. But you should have an idea about this complex data, and I hope you all have gone through the complex data or imaginary data in your 11th or 12th standard. So let us have a code space and let us understand this with the example so that things can be easy for you. So the complex data is a completely different format actually. So the format is like, let us take a variable a, and the format of complex data, first you have to put a real value. Let us put a real value 5 plus 6j. So this is the format of a complex data. Here the j is the imaginary or complex number. So let us print the type of this variable a, and let us see what output it gives. So the same way we'll print the data type of variable, variable a, and let's see what output it gives. Sorry, I was disconnected with the internet. Okay, so all good now. So after disconnecting, if you're connecting it 1 second, it take a bit time. Yeah, we have the output and the type is complex. So our next data type is string data type. It's a very important data type. String data is a data type which is used to store text. It is made of characters such as letter, number, symbol and spaces written inside a quotation marks. And even if you put a number within the quotation marks, it will be considered as a character, not with the value. So you might be wondering actually that if it can be written inside a quotation marks, then why so many quotation marks are there? So these quotation marks are for the structure. If you want to quote something inside a quote, then you have to use it. So let us take an example so that things can be clear to you. So suppose we declare a variable called a, and let us first take a simple example, and we'll print a sentence like my name is Ram. So this is pretty simple. If you call the a, the text will be printed. That's all. Now let us take another example. We declare a variable b, and we start the line with a quotation mark, and my name is Ram. My friend says. Now what his friend says, that even need to be written within a quotation mark. So we'll start with the quotation mark. Data science is a hot topic. Now it should be closed. Now you have closed the statement of Ram's friend. Data science is a hot topic, but the line started with a single quotation mark, that is here, so that need to be closed either. So you closed both the quotation mark, but here you will have an error. So let us print the output of b, and it will definitely going to throw you error. Yes. So in such scenario, what you need to do, as we have a quote inside a quote, so we will start the first sentence with double quote. Now what Ram's friend says, start from here. Data science is a hot topic, that will be closed with a single quote mark, and the whole sentence should be closed with a double quotation mark, as it was started with the double quotation marks. Now it should be good. Yes. So like that way, if you inside quote, you have to increase the number of quotation marks at the starting of the sentence. I guess it's clear for you. or should I take another example? Okay, let us take the last example of string, because string is really a very important. This time we are declaring a variable called C, and please look at the sentence very carefully. So my sentence starts with three inverted comma. Now my friend says I have a friend who says Python is easy. Now I have to close this one first, so we'll close this one. Now say I agree. So here we have to close this code, so we'll close this code or quotation mark. Now we have to close this one, so we'll write down me too. Now we'll close the three quotation mark and we will call the C. So I think it's much clear to you guys now. So our next data type is a non-data type. Non-data types basically represents the absence of a value. It means no data, nothing, or null value in a program. And the only thing you have to remember about this data type is that the non-word is case sensitive. So let me show you with a example so that you can remember it long. So let me take a variable a and we save a non-value over there. Now if we print the type of this variable, it should give you an error. Yes, so it's giving you an error because it's a case sensitive. So the right one should be, the first n should be in capital, none, and we will print the value of a as well as the type of that value. So this time the value is none and the data type is none type. So you might be confused why this none is required. So first let me tell you, if you were maintaining a record of an employee and in this record you mention the name of the employee, the city of the employee, the designation of the employee, and for few employees you don't know the city, so that space must not be left blank, because in real time scenario there is a thousands of record in your database, and when you are pulling the data out of your database, if you are leaving some space blank, that can produce an error. And apart from that, I'll show you something in the coding so that you can understand why the none is basically required. So suppose we declare a variable result and we assign it a value none. Sorry, none. Now if the result is none, sorry, if result is none, print the result is pending, and if you run this program, so the result is pending. Now I guess you can understand why this none is required, because if you have to mention such variable where the space, where the data is not available as of now, and you have to call that variable, in such cases you have to use the none. So our next example is Boolean. Boolean is a data type that has only two possible values. One is true and another is false. It's like an on-off situation. So nothing more about this. Actually, it's a very basic data type, and let me show you with a coding. So you just declare a variable called a and assign a value. It must be true or false, and then you just print the type of this variable a, and it's a boolean class. So let me show you for false as well. Take a variable called b, and here we are assigning it the another value false because it has only two values, one is true and another is false. Print type, and we have to pass the variable. Here the variable is b, and here we go, we'll run the code. So it's same, the class is boolean. The last data type for us today is range. Range is built-in data type, or you can call it a function in Python, used to generate sequence of number within a specified range. So let me show you with a code. So it's basically, it's not a single number, it's a range that you have to declare. So let us take a variable called v, and we will declare a range here. So to declare a range, you have to write range and close it with first bracket, and you have to mention the value up to which you want the range should be, and print the value itself and the type of that value. So in this code, you will have the value, I mean the exact value of that variable v, and what type of value is this, I mean what type of data type is this. You will get both the output. So let us see what it gives. So as you can see, you have declared range up to 5, so it will by default, if you are not giving it the first, I mean the starting point, it will by default take the 0 as a starting point. So it declares a range from 0 to 5, and the class is range. Now let me show you another program. We take a variable v, and this time we just want to give it a starting point. So you can give it any starting point, 2 to 7, and same way you can print the value as well as the data type, v type v. So when you didn't provide the starting point, it took the 0 as a starting point by default, but when you provided the starting point, it shows you the starting point and the end point, and the data type is obviously range. So far we have completed 7 types of basic data types, and thanks for watching this episode. If this video helped you, do not forget to like, share and subscribe for more tech content. Bye bye.